Well, good morning, Catalina Foothills Church and friends who visit with us in our Tuesday morning devotion. We're looking at Matthew chapter 7, the first 6 verses. Pretty famous words if you're familiar with the Bible, if you've been around Christianity. If not, it'd be fun to hear them. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there's a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you'll see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Pretty powerful passage in several things here to consider this morning. And the clear call of Christ in this is, do not judge, or you too will be judged. Now, I think there is a small distinction to be made here, but we need to be careful because this really pertains to our hearts. Is that it's okay to say to yourself or to someone else, well, hey, that's sin. It's a sin to murder, right? And that's obvious. It's a sin. It's wrong to steal. It is wrong to malign someone. But in judgment, when we judge something, we're not taking an obvious fact, a murder or a stealing or a slandering. We're beginning to judge their motives and their heart. Judgment often speaks to me saying, they did that for bad reasons, or she did that so other people would notice her. He did that so that people would love him. And what Jesus is saying is, you don't know the hearts of others. You don't know why they do what they do. And you need to be careful not to judge. And the reason you need to be careful not to judge is for the same way that you judge others. When you look down on someone, when you condemn someone, that's the way God is going to judge you back, which is very sobering. In part, it means that the peculiarness of each of us, some people in staff will laugh because I'm really bothered if people download illegal movies and watch them, or download illegal videos, or they use someone else's password to log into Netflix. And the staff sort of makes fun of me. And I have to be careful because this particular judgment I have on others, that's what Jesus is going to use to judge John Stone. So John, you may not be using an illegal Netflix password, but where are you using material that doesn't belong to you? And so there's a real call to carefulness in judgment. But there's also a reminder that you need to take the speck out of your own eye before you deal with the speck in someone else. You need to take the plank out of your own eye before you deal with the speck in someone's eye. And this is really unusual because just on the surface, it feels like he's saying the person with the bigger sin, the plank, once they've gotten the plank out, can deal with the very small sin of someone else. So to sort of say, it might read, the person who's a murderer, when they've admitted I shouldn't have murdered, they repent of the murder, now they can come over to someone and say, let me help you deal with your anger. And there's probably something to that. But there's something else being said here. When he says, first deal with the plank in your own eye, he's talking about perspective. And what he's saying is, a little speck, when you put it very close to your eye, appears gigantic. It's a perspective thing. A small little plank, a small little piece of board, when I put it close to my eye, appears to be gigantic. And what he's saying is that until you see your sin as bigger than someone else's sin, until you see the sin in your own heart, until you can, as it were, judge yourself honestly, you will never be helpful to someone else. That we are to see ourselves as sinners. We're to see our sin more clearly before we go to someone else to try to help them with their sin. And in part, this must be true because I can see my heart. I can see those secret judgments. I can see those secret motives. I can see all of that stuff in me that no one else can see, that I am able to hide from others. And until I get down in there and deal with that, until I go in and deal with all of that, I won't deal with others well. In fact, the dealing and the repenting of my own sins is what makes me someone who can go to someone else with tears and with compassion and with grace and with mercy. The grace and mercy I need, the judgment that I judge others with, grace and mercy, will now be applied to me, and to them it'll flow out of me. So, beautiful passage. Look forward to preaching through it, to being in God's Word this Sunday with you. Do not judge, or you'll be judged the same way. First, deal with your own sin before you deal with someone else's. Brothers and sisters and friends, hope you're having a great week. I look forward to seeing you around town, or this coming Sunday online, or in person, or whenever we might see each other again. Have a great week.